The grit mindset hates losing more than they love winning. The grit mindset, go the extra mile. Someone once asked the champ, Muhammad Ali, hey, champ, how many push-ups can you do? He said, 7 or 8. And they said, 7 or 8? You're the champ. You got to be able to do more push-ups than 7 or 8. No, he said. I can do 7 or 8 when I feel I absolutely can't do one more. That's the grit mindset. I'm so glad you made it here. Before you watch this video, click the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you get access and notifications to 3 videos a week on the art and science of ethical influence. I'll appreciate it, and so will many. Next is Bob Proctor, the principle of point of view problem solving. What's that? Well, I've interviewed Bob many times, and Bob is the white-haired guy in The Secret, very well known. He did many, many things before The Secret. And I think he's read Think and Grow Rich no less than maybe 80 times, possibly more. And he is big on Napoleon Hill and the teachings, from masterminds to definiteness of purpose and all the principles in Think and Grow Rich. There's 17, there used to be 13, and there are a lot of principles. People don't remember the principles, but they remember the stories. Well, here's what I remember when I asked Bob, how do you solve a problem? So here's what he does. He writes the problem on an index card. Now, until you name it and identify it with ink or with lead, it doesn't exist. So part of identifying the problem is to write it down so it doesn't become an affirmation inside your head or heart. It becomes a declaration so other people can see it. So clarify the problem by writing it down. That's the first step. It's super simple. Most people don't do it. They just worry and stress over a problem that eventually overwhelms them, stresses them. They get adrenal fatigue, and then everything's a nightmare. But you can stop that by utilizing what I call Bob Proctor's principle of point of view problem solving. So imagine you write a nice, juicy, nectar-filled problem on an index card. And then imagine putting it on top of a table right in the middle, and the table has 4 sides. It could be a bridge table. Get rid of the chairs. So what Bob does is he stands, he looks at the problem, and he asks, what would happen if I did do this? And he thinks about all of the possibilities. And what I do is, when I do it, I have someone taking dictation, and all these ideas come out. What would happen if I did do it? Then he goes to another angle, so another side, and he asks the question, what won't happen if I do this thing? Whatever the action is to solve the problem. What won't happen if I do this? From another angle. Then he goes to a third angle, and he says, what will happen if I don't do this? Now, if this is at all confusing, go back and watch the replay, because it's super simple once you get good at it. What won't happen if you do this? And that's the third angle. So he's having 3 different points of view. We're not even done yet, because you got to go 4 for 4, which is what won't happen if you don't do it? What won't happen if you don't do it? And that problem from 4 different sides, that's called the Cartesian quadrants, from René Descartes. And Monsieur Descartes said, cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. He's the father of Western philosophy. He was a great mathematician, and that's where it comes from. But I think what Bob Proctor did is really amplify the power of looking at a problem from different points of view, and it's easier to solve, and there's fewer blind spots. Next up, we have Larry King. All right. Now, the principle of reason why. The principle of reason why. Well, first of all, let me show you my experience with Larry King. This is not at an event. This is at his house. And I spent 4 hours there. And he's a great storyteller. And of course, I met his wife and his kids. And, he lives a regular life. His kids were playing baseball at the time. And I was there with the Harvey Mackay Roundtable, which I helped shape and create with Harvey Mackay. It was our 2nd year. And he has an amazing house. It's in Beverly Hills. But he said something that was very stunning to me. He's done 5,000 interviews, 1,000 more than me. And he said the most important question, because someone asked him, what's the most important question you ask? And he said, you know what? The most important question I ask is why. Again, the principle of reason why. Now, there are thought leaders seen again and again on TED, right? Simon Sinek, start with why. But this is an interviewer. So when someone says something and it looks like it's meaningful, a good way to say why is how come? And then why? And then why is that important? And what I like to do is do 5 layers of why to get to the root why, hopefully to the seed why. This is an acorn that fell off of a tree that's probably maybe 20,000 tons outside. It's massive, massive, huge. It's over 100 years old. It started like this. Everything big started small. It's one of the laws of karma. There's 4 laws. You can look them up on Google. So you want to get to not the root cause. You want to get to the seed cause that no one can see, because the seed flops into the root and the seed's gone, right? And so I just go for 5 whys, and I do it politely. And when I get to the root is heart intelligence. Why is a question of the heart. So if you are attempting to get to the root cause or seed cause of something, keep asking yourself why, ask someone else why, and man, will there be strong rapport if you're interviewing a thought leader. It's amazing. Next up, Tony Hsieh. I've interviewed him twice. CEO, president of Zappos. Now, I don't know if he's still CEO at the moment of this recording, but he taught me the principle of engagement. And he wrote a book on happiness, which I did a teleseminar with. We called it a virtual book tour. Thousands, were listening. And I just asked him questions about what was inside the book. But it's not happiness that he taught me. He taught me engagement. Because at Zappos, if you call their customer service, they do something that's not very businesslike. They'll stay on the phone with you for about 20 minutes. Because engagement is more important to them than profits. And somehow it trickles down to the bottom line, and he's figured that out. Now, not everyone can do this because he has a massive support center on the phone. But they don't try to upsell them. They don't try to cross-sell them or downsell them. They are there to engage with them so they have a customer for life. Think about this. If you have patients, customers, members, students, clients, whatever you call them, what if you never lost one for life? When people ask me for online marketing, what percentage of online marketing should I learn from you? I mean, who else should I learn from? My response is, I want 100% of all of your online marketing continuing education. I want to earn 100% of it. And I don't want you to ever leave. So we have $100,000 clients, $60,000 clients, $30,000 clients, $5,000 clients. And it's an attitude of engagement, right? Which is one of our core values. And that's what Tony Hsieh taught me. And then there is the late, great Muhammad Ali. And he has and taught me the principle of grit. Now, what is grit? I'm going to show you in a second. First of all, let me show you Muhammad Ali. I'm not with him at an event. I am at his house. So you get to know someone at his house. He wasn't very talkative at this time. And he's wearing sunglasses because his eyes didn't look, let's say they just didn't look like the champ, right? He was fighting Parkinson's disease, but he was still very receptive. He could hear. I whispered in his ear something that was meaningful to me. And this is a picture in his home when he was still living. Now, this concept of grit, I want you to look up on Google, but grit is really going that extra mile. When you think it's over, I teach my son Gabriel, who is a rower. He's in crew. He won the nationals in the 17 and under boat. 8 people in the boat. He was in the boat his first year. Like, he touched an oar less than a year and he won nationals. So he has the grit mindset. The grit mindset hates losing more than they love winning. The grit mindset, go the extra mile. Someone once asked the champ, Muhammad Ali, hey, champ, how many push-ups can you do? He said, 7 or 8. And they said, 7 or 8? You're the champ. You got to be able to do more push-ups than 7 or 8. No, he said. I can do 7 or 8 when I feel I absolutely can't do one more. That's the grit mindset. Do you have it? Do you? Well, the bottom line is, if you don't, then it's easy if you seek simplicity on the far side of complexity. That's my point. That's the direction I want you to go. Because when you look at simplicity and you remember that bell curve, seek it on the other side, and the fastest way there is with a thought leader. The question is, which thought leaders will you borrow wisdom from next? I mean, there are thought leaders out there all the time who are really good at something. Now, I'm really good at mentoring and teaching things that are complicated and making them very simple so that they're understandable and they're actually received. And I will tell you this is my belief. A key point, part one, is fools learn from their own mistakes. And I acted like a fool for about 25 years of my life. Geniuses learn from other thought leaders' mistakes. So listen to the mistakes that thought leaders tell you, because they plowed the ground. If they made a mistake, that means they're on the other side of complexity of that bell curve. Are you with me? So the reason I charge so much for mentoring is because not my successes, but because I've made so many mistakes. And by amortizing them, I first tell you what not to do, and then we focus on what to do. Unfortunately, some clients and students do it anyway because they want to find out for themselves. And I tell them, no problem. There are piranhas in that pond. So, go lose a leg. And some do. So I don't mind that. But as long as they know I don't recommend it, we start with what not to do. So if you would like to learn what not to do, and you want to take the next step and you feel that you're a candidate, then here's my sales pitch. Go to marketingonline.com/intake. And please only take it if and only if you would like a discovery session, one-to-one, for a high-end client proposal. What does high-end mean? High-end means $30,000, $60,000, $100,000, nothing less. So if that's not in your budget, if that's offensive, then don't go to Marketing Online. If you do go there and you go through that process, that's exactly the process I teach you. I teach conversion secrets on how to attract high-end clients. Because I know that if you just got 2 out of 100 clients that were $10,000 each, that would give you $20,000. If you got 100 dollar clients, that would give you $10,000. So if you're batting 1,000, in other words, 100 out of 100 is giving you 10,000. If you bat, 2%, if you're batting 200, actually worse. If you got 2 out of 100 saying yes, you make more. You make double the money. So $100 versus $10,000. And can you charge $10,000 if you're just starting out? You can. What are you going to offer them? Who cares? What do we start with? Your avatar, the target audience you're going for. Why? Let's start with the product. No, you can't start with the product until you start with your bullseye client, right in the middle, in that yellow on the target. That's called an avatar. So if you'd like to see a video on how to create an avatar, then you can go to marketingonline.com/avatar. It's free, AVAR, avatar, AVATAR, marketingonline.com/avatar, just like this. And I use those index cards like my flip charts. But I am here to tell you this is part one. So if you would like to see part two of tested wisdom from thought leaders. Tested means it's already happened. It's actually an oxymoron because all wisdom is tested. I don't believe in new. I believe in olds. A tradition that lasts 2,500 years or 5,000 years. I believe in that because it has withstood the test of time. So please, what I wish for you is look for simplicity on the far side of complexity, because that is what life is worth living. So my name is Alex Mandossian. I hope our paths cross again. And no matter where you're watching from, to be continued. If you like what you saw, then tell me and I will do part 2 soon. All good wishes. Text the keyword you see on your screen to this mobile number, 415-980-3555. Now, if it's your first time visiting, please subscribe to this channel. And if you've done this before, stick around because we have another high impact and high influence video coming right after this one. All good wishes.